And these last few weeks before the playoffs is going to be exciting. Hopefully, the Mets will do a good job.
Yeah. Well, it's really been an up and down season for the Mets, huh, Jimmy? They started the season with the best pitching in the league, and now they have the best hitting in the league. In the first half of the season, they were barely averaging under 2 runs a game. Here, I just looked up the stat. Since July 25th, the Mets are tied for the major league lead in runs scored with 255 and lead the majors in home runs, RBIs, and slugging percentage. And they're tied with Toronto for the most home runs since the All-Star break. That's pretty good, huh?
And considering who the Mets have and who Toronto has Troy Tulowitzki, they have Edwin Encarnacion, they have Jose Bautista, they have Josh Donaldson. I mean, those 4 guys are huge power guys, huge superstars. The Mets, they have Cespedes, we got Granderson. Flores has been doing really well since a non-trade. And again, so the Mets, that non-trade has been making Sandy Alderson look like a genius right now.
What have Carlos Gomez's stats been, Jamie, since the non-trade?
I think it's a little better now, but a little better is an average of 230.
He's hitting 230. Yeah. So for those guys who don't follow the Mets as closely as we do, the Mets had a deal on the table to trade Zach Wheeler, their ace injured pitcher, and Wilmer Flores for Carlos Gomez. And in the 11th hour, they pulled that deal and instead traded Michael Fulmer, another good pitcher, but probably not in Zach Wheeler's class, for Cespedes.
And again, as I said in last week's broadcast, Zach Wheeler was traded for Carlos Beltran. That trade's been really well. I think, again, Sandy Alderson has been, he's not been getting enough credit for his moves, whether it's, trades or non-trades. And, pulling off the Cespedes deal, I think I read somewhere where they said that Wilpon was the one that came over to Sandy Alderson and said, hey, let's check out Cespedes. And, it's worked out really well. Again, another big news that came this week in between our 2 broadcasts were that the Mets and Cespedes' agent, the leagues approved this already, and they've been able to sign something that allows the Mets to re-sign Cespedes, try to re-sign Cespedes for the whole offseason, rather than the 5-day window that they get to re-sign free agents. If they did not get this done, if they missed that 5-day window to re-sign him, they probably would not get him, because the next time they're allowed to try to sign him again, it would be May of the next year. And, Cespedes would be going fast. He's one of the biggest free agent names this offseason. So I think Cespedes, him and his agent doing this, they've really helped out the Mets. It states that Cespedes wants to be a Met for the near future. And again, I was reading this other report about the largest contracts in Mets history, and they've all been recent contracts. And you guys can judge these. Some of them have been good, some of them not so much. I mean, the largest contract was David Wright's humongous contract extension. If he's healthy, maybe he'll live up to that. We don't know yet. He's not been playing often, but he's been injured quite often. But, he's been playing now. That's important. And he's producing when he's healthy. So we'll see how that contract turns up. But I think the second most was Johan Santana. That deal did not work out well. Apart from his first season with the Mets when he nearly won the Cy Young Award, had great season, but then afterwards, just shoulder injuries, and we don't know what he would have been like before his injuries. But now after that, he pitched a no-hitter for the Mets, the first ever Mets no-hitter. So maybe he was worth it, but all that money over that long period of time, I don't know. They gave up Carlos Gomez for him. And then I think after that, maybe Beltran. So Beltran worked out for them. He had his best season in 06. They made the playoffs that year. And he got back Zach Wheeler. So I think that was a pretty good signing. And then after Beltran,
That's right, because Beltran got traded for Zach Wheeler, right?
The Giants. The Giants traded Beltran for half a season. And they got Zach Wheeler in return. The Mets got Zach Wheeler in return. Hopefully Cespedes will not be like this. but again, Cespedes has been producing, and then I think the last contract on that list is Jason Bay. That was a big mistake.
Yeah, Jason Bay had a couple of All-Star seasons with the Pirates, and then he came to the Mets. Big dud. I think he might have been on steroids. What do you think, Jamie?
He had one great season with the Red Sox prior, and then the Mets signed him to that big contract. He had one good season. He got signed to such a huge contract. I think that was a big mistake on the Mets. And Sandy Alderson, was he GM back then? I don't think so, right? What's that guy's name? Guy before Sandy Alderson.
I think it was Steve Phillips was the GM
No,
then, wasn't he?
Steve Phillips was before this guy.
Oh.
This was the guy that signed Beltran and brought the Mets to the 06.
Omar Minaya?
Yeah, Omar Minaya. That's the guy.
Yeah.
So, and then Sandy Alderson. Again, a lot of the moves Sandy Alderson has made over the course of his Mets GM career is stated in his book of Baseball Maverick, and that's really a good read if you're a Mets fan out there.
What's the name of that book, Jimmy?
Baseball Maverick. It's by Sandy Alderson. It's or someone actually. It's like Moneyball, but written over the course of a few seasons. Explains a lot of things Sandy Alderson has done, and after reading that book, you look at Sandy Alderson in a whole new way. At least I did, and I thought that before that, a lot of Mets fans are still sort of criticizing Sandy Alderson. But after reading that book, you find out that a lot of the moves he's made have been building up to this season right now. A lot of people are saying Morrow, the previous Mets GM, he drafted all that young talent, but Sandy Alderson has done quite a good job in the trade front. Free agent wise, I mean, he signed Granderson, he's a great clubhouse presence, and he's been the Mets leadoff hitter, their only capable guy leading off.
Well, Granderson's been having a great year though. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was batting, I think, 240 before the All-Star break, and now he's up to like 265. So
it's down a little bit now.
Yeah, he's been doing well though. Okay, we're getting tested again here. Question from the Peanut Gallery from PC. Who's the pitcher who can pitch lefty and righty?
Logan. No, sorry. What am I talking about? The guy on the A's.
Yeah, what's his name?
Shoot. Oh man. Guy on the A's.
They had to make a special rule for him, right? Like he has to.
Yes.
He can't change. He has to show clearly to the batter which hand he's pitching with. He has to declare.
He pitches for the Athletics.
Is he allowed to change arms in the middle of an at-bat? I don't think so, right?
No, he's not.
Can he change in the middle of an inning?
Pat Vendette.
Oh, yeah, Pat Vendette. That's right. Pat Vendette. Okay, we got it.
So, he has to declare before he faces the batter. I think that's the rule.
Well, I think maybe people don't know, though, that Sandy Alderson's actually Billy Beane's mentor.
Said that last time.
Oh, okay. And so the Mets have the whole Moneyball team with them now over on their side. But it's ironic. I think that the Moneyball system might not have picked up how important Yoenis Cespedes is to a team. Because if you remember last year when after the A's traded, the A's had the best record in baseball, and then they traded Yoenis Cespedes in order to get Jeff Smartza, and who else did they get?
No, the Cespedes deal was for Lester.
Oh, for Lester, yeah. And that didn't, after Cespedes was gone, the team went to the tank. So there's a lot of things that, maybe don't show up on the stats. Cespedes is a true five-tool player. He can play center field. He's got an arm, cannon of an arm. He's a great base runner. And he has a sense of the moment, too. Like, as you can see in this series with the Nationals, he hit every game he had the key hit. He had home run in game 1, key 3-run double in game 2, and 2-run home run in game 3. So I think Billy Beane probably regrets that move that he made.
I think Billy Beane thought that he knew the importance of pitching in the postseason. He thought his team wouldn't collapse like that. He traded a few guys away, and just one guy. I don't think he thought the impact would have been that big. And Pitching is very important in the playoffs. It's one of the most important factors. I think Billy Bean knew that, and he made his move. I don't think he regrets it because Billy Bean's not that type of guy. I think Billy Bean, he made a mistake and then he completely changed his roster. I think the A's are headed in the right direction.
Well, he traded Josh Donaldson away in the offseason, even though Donaldson has a pretty team-friendly contract. And Donaldson's responded at the Blue Jays by being up for MVP. I mean, he's having his best season ever and leading his team to a potential World Series. So, don't know. We'll see. Maybe someone's getting the better of Billy Bean finally in the trades.
Again, another reminder: if you need a call, if you want to call in, you can always add my dad on Skype, SCM King, and buzz in through Skype. Okay, now back to Billy Bean. I think but again, there were Ace fans that looked into it. There were Ace fans that looked into it, and they found out that the war on the players that Billy Bean got back for Josh Donaldson would help them a lot in the long run. I mean, they have guys that are pitching for them already. A lot of people think that the trade was initially just for Brett Lawrie, but it turns out that the other guys he got are equally as important. They're pitchers. They're helping the A's now. The war, if you combine the players' wars, they're about the same as Josh Donaldson. And the interesting thing about the A's is everything. They're one of the most bad luck teams this year. They had one of the best run differentials in the big leagues. I think they may still do, but they're losing. All the games they're losing are like 1-run games, and their bullpen just hasn't been able to get the job done.
Yeah, and Ben Zobrist, which I think everyone thought was a great signing for them because he's the kind of player who is a little below the radar. He's got one of the best wins over replacement of any player in the league, but he was slumping with the A's, and now that he's left them, he's doing well again. So.
Yeah. So, I think Josh Donaldson again. He's under team control till I think 2018, and under relatively less. He's cost efficient. But the Blue Jays really destroyed their farm system. But I guess you really can't blame them. They've not made the postseason in so long. They're desperately trying to, and good luck to them to beat out the Yankees. So, I think, in the American League, the Indians are making a huge roar. They're making a huge roar. The Indians, they're only like 4 games back from the wild card now. Don't underlook them. They're making a huge run over. They're only 1 game below 500 in the American League East, apart from the Yankees, who have basically solidified the first wild card spot. The second wild card spot is very well up for grabs. The Rangers are currently occupying it, but again, like their 3-4 teams are just 4 games back. The Indians, they've been on a roll. Can't count them out. I'm rooting for them.
Well, what do you think? Do you think the National League side is all set? The Giants have gone into the tank, predictably. It's been an odd year for them, so I think they're now, 8 games back, Jamie? Maybe 9. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we've cleared the Nationals now, so I think the only question is if one of the Central teams can overtake the Cardinals, but I think that's pretty hard too, right?
I think another one to look up to is the Cubbies are trying to host a wild card game. That is their goal. That's what they want to do, and we'll see.
So Jamie, what do you think about this whole wild card system, though? Look, you've got the Pirates and the Cubs, who, on the one hand, they've had the toughest schedule because they've had to play the Cardinals in their division more than the Mets or the Dodgers. And yet, it's all going to come down to one wild card game for them against each other.